And yet we were told by the company very clearly, there's no way that that movie could have ever went on their bill without them ordering it from the box.
Hey, I'm Jeremy with Northwest. Today I'm sitting back down with our client experience manager, TJ. TJ, customer service is all about helping the customer, but sometimes companies get really caught up in proving that they're right. Why is that a bad idea?
Because you need this customer to pay every single month. That's how business runs. And if you're willing to break that relationship for one moment, probably making the wrong choice.
It seems kind of wild that companies are so willing to do that.
Yeah, it seems like most of them do, right? Like in my experience.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
I think just as humans, we default to what's fair in the moment instead of being thoughtful and longer term thinking. And then granted, like again, in a normal world, like outside of business, when we meet people, most people we're like, yes, I found what I needed today. Thank you for asking, like that's even in business, but it's generally very transactional. You're not trying to maintain a relationship. And so it's different in business. You just have to make that mental click and also empower people. Because I think that if I work for a company and nobody's ever told me that it's okay to break the fair line and do what makes sense, that I'm probably just going to stick to the status quo, which is do what makes sense in the moment, not for the longer term relationship.
It's so ingrained in society today.
Yeah.
You ever been caught up with that? Obviously, you didn't spend your entire career here. You were somewhere else before. It probably ate at you at one point, right?
Yeah. No, I got a good example. So I used to work for a cable company. And when I first started out, I was on the phones, and in the cable companies back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were pay-per-view movies. And that was actually a pretty big revenue driver for the cable company. It was also a pretty big friction creator when those movies were adult movies, and generally the spouse was calling us to tell us their husband wouldn't watch that smut. And yet we were told by the company very clearly, there's no way that that movie could have ever went on their bill without them ordering it from the box or calling and talking to somebody, in which we would then see it on our screen that, an employee ordered it. It was impossible. So our script was, tell them that. Tell them it's impossible. And pay your bill. Like, pay for this smut you didn't watch. That was the approach. That was how we were trained.
Did that go well?
Didn't go well. No. And in fact, customers would cancel. Obviously, people cried. Like, it was an emotional moment for these people finding out that somebody in their home was watching adult movies, which is pretty sensitive. And so, it just felt like what we were doing was we were making our being right more important than we lacked empathy. Their clear emotional response was anger, because they thought, maybe in their heart, they thought nobody did watch it. So they thought we were lying. Or deep down, a little bit of shame, a lot of really heavy feelings. And we're just like ignoring that crap, saying, pay for it. And that was how we were trained. So.
And you think that just ruined the relationship forever?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, maybe not forever, but when it comes to, if there's a competitor, cable's a little different because they kind of monopolize. But if there's a competitor and an opportunity, are they going to stick with the company that left that feeling with them, a feeling of shame and anger, and didn't care? Probably not.
The long-term value of a customer is more important than losing them over a one-time charge. It's simple math. Good customer service is all about retaining your customers for the long haul. Coming up, TJ is going to explain to us how you can make a simple change today to make sure you keep the customers you already have for good. How do you think that could have been handled differently?
Almost ignore it. Take the blame. Say, tell you what, I'm gonna take care of that. I'm sorry. In trade, I just need you to set up controls on your remote password to make sure that that's whatever, right? There's probably other ways or you can just block it, turn it off. Adult videos off on our side and say, hey, it won't happen again. I turned that off. Is that okay? That's it. Ignore it. Like, don't make a big deal out of it, right? Because they don't want their name dragged through the mud.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So let's say somebody's growing their company and they're setting up their customer service. What change can they make right now, like today, to their policy so they don't go down that path, be on the wrong side of this whole fairness in business?
Every business should start by writing it down and defining it so that these employees are coming in, just humans, and they're trying to do the right thing. They know what the right thing means at this company. It's different than do what makes sense in the moment. It's about building a long-term relationship and building trust. And you don't do that by arguing with somebody about whether or not they watched adult movies. So I think if you define that very clearly, I would encourage anybody starting a company to make that one of the first steps, to define that decision standard for their team, so they're not also uncomfortable in that moment.
Do you think most people who are coming in to work for a company would just kind of through society have an ingrained, I'm going to protect the company over protect the customer mentality?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, wherever you work sort of trains that. So it's rare that you find a company like ours or some of the companies that we're helping get started and we're really telling them these really important things to build a foundation on. It's rare. So most companies, I think, are just like, nope, sorry, no refunds. It says it right here on the paper.
That surely goes against the status quo. If you think there's a better way to handle that, drop it down in the comments below so we can all learn.